know, I didn't.
Police work is not a function of a TV station. Normally, we would refrain from giving advice to the police on how to do their job or how to produce better evidence for use in court. But in recent years, the use of TV has been on the increase in police investigations. The abscam cases, the DeLorean case, and many others have depended upon videotaped evidence. Former Riviera Beach Police Chief Boone Darden was convicted of bribery and racketeering. A videotape of the transaction proved his undoing. This brings us to some advice for law enforcement agencies. First, look at the picture and the quality of the Darden tape. Here's an excerpt.
Yeah, I think we can talk to the one thing that I've been finding with this breeze cool on this land. Where we gotta go for situation? Can you give us a cop? I don't know. This is a finding now. This is down K9. If he's done that with all right, you an idea that you're protecting something in the sun.
Pretty bad black and white picture and the sound. In contrast, look at the next excerpt. This video was shot by a News 4 crew at the warehouse used for the undercover sting operation, which this week has netted 115 arrests.
It's 55. What? $55 for what? For them. All three of them? I ain't heard what on. I ain't hear that on the phone now. What you heard?
Yeah.
I heard 35, 35, and 25 for the
That's not a store card.
Amoco card.
What are we gonna do? Where are we gonna move it?
To distributors.
Yeah, well,
You told me you was a distributor company, right?
we do, but
So distribute.
huh?
Notice the difference in quality. It's no great trick to get good pictures and sound. The equipment can be bought at a neighborhood camera shop. Color camera, zoom lens, good microphone. Then train the camera operator and presto, you have a quality videotape to show a jury and enhance chances for conviction. End of advice to police.
Ralph, there has been community pressure in South Dade for a lot of these suspects to surrender. In fact, 2 of them were waiting for the sting detectives when they got to work this morning, and we're told that one more was rounded up by his family. They brought him to the police station. It took 6 weeks to physically build the sting warehouse, an operation that could probably be set up in an afternoon by real fences. But the cops needed bulletproof counters, a room to photograph evidence, and much more.
In the old days, catching crooks was mostly a matter of chasing and shooting. It worked pretty well.
But today's bad guys have gotten more sophisticated, and so have the crime fighters. In fact, today's detectives often get their strategy straight from Hollywood.
This is the B&T Distributing Company in South Dade. To neighbors, it looked like any other warehouse. To burglars, the people inside seemed to do business like any other fencing operation. B&T bought TVs, stereos, even cars for about 1/10 of actual value.
Y'all take anything worthwhile? Anything with some credit cards, guns.
Oh, yeah? All right, good. I'll be here to see you, man. A lot. Credit card?
B&T had a lot of happy customers. In 6 months, there were over 700 deals at this counter, almost all for stolen goods. But the fences were cops, and the warehouse an elaborate movie set, designed like those in Hollywood to produce great pictures of the stars. The stars in this case were thieves. Here's how the sting fooled so many of them. All of the deals were done in front of this wall. Behind it, 2 hidden cameras. For 6 months, people selling stolen goods looked into the lenses but never spotted them. One was behind a TV screen that was never turned on, for good reason. The picture tube had been replaced by a camera. And look closely at the hole in the equipment board on the right. That's a TV camera. Customers always did look closely at the wall. Just above the cameras were posters of women named Goldie and White Boots.
Invariably, the guys would look up to view the beauty and just gave us a very good face-on shot.
These were not women wearing fur coats.
They hardly had anything on. White Boots had white boots on, and that's about it.
Hey, you ain't got no posters better than that there, man. You don't like that? You know, I told you about that last time I came here, man. I like that. Nothing better than that.
The day we watched, there was a third camera, ours, hidden behind an upstairs window. Nearby, the police pictures were recorded by a detective who listened through microphones hidden in the counter. The mics were sensitive enough to pick up this man sampling cocaine from a batch he just sold. For security, officers with shotguns stood behind every door. But this gangster-style submachine gun wasn't real. It's another prop designed to make B&T look like a tough operation. And that worked too. Nobody ever tried to rob the detectives. So day after day, the bought-back loot piled up, a total of almost $2 million worth. That was good news for victims like Joseph Skanks, who recovered stereo equipment, and Bob Wilkinson, who got back high-tech business machines.
I didn't think I'd ever see it again.
The B&T operation, South Florida's biggest sting ever, raises new questions about crime-fighting ethics. How far should cops go to catch crooks? We'll get some answers tomorrow.
Now, if you were burglarized between last August and last Christmas, your property might have been bought back by the police during the sting. Almost $1 million worth is still unclaimed, but it won't be shown to the public until October because of all the legal paperwork in the case. And Ralph, the police have been getting a lot of calls. We've been getting a lot of calls from people who want to know how to get it back. All they'll need is a police report and then be able to identify it, but not or not. Ever since Paul Newman and Robert Redford made stings popular in the movies a decade ago, they've been popular with police in the streets.
It's not hard to see why detectives love to run sting operations.
I'm going to tell you something real simple and short. Money talks in this business and bullshit walks. It works the same way down in Washington.
Crooks, like congressmen convicted in the abscam case, say the most incriminating things when they don't know they're on camera. John DeLorean may have been caught making a cocaine deal in another FBI sting. A jury has been hearing evidence and watching videotapes for weeks. And in Miami, 1,000 charges were filed this week after Metro Police ran South Florida's biggest sting ever, posing as fences who would buy anything stolen.
Okay, what do you get for an average credit card? MasterCard, Visa, American Express, $50. Store cards, I should have been known about this big.
Customers at Metro's B&T Distributing Company found out about the fencing operation from undercover officers who talked about it on the street and by word of mouth from other happy customers.
But operations like B&T are risky. In coming months, hundreds of defense lawyers will stand up here and object to the way their clients were caught. In effect, they'll try to put the sting itself on trial.
There will be two key questions. Number one, are stings fair?
Lots of people who would not otherwise commit crimes or be likely to commit crimes are going to walk through that door because it's just a temptation. You're dangling a bait before people. Human nature is such that there's only so much one can resist.
They would call us up right from the victim's home and indicate to us that they had this, that, and that. It almost sounded like they had a shopping list right there in front of them. Obviously, they were sitting there looking at what the people had.
We found that about 95% of them were street criminals, and we suspect that if we got into the juvenile records that even more would have been involved. So we were not dealing with first-time, only-time criminals.
Question two is what the public will be asking. Do stings stop crime? They're more expensive than old-fashioned detective work. The police spent $159,000 buying back all that stolen property, and the 6 officers plus 1 sergeant working full-time on the sting cost taxpayers another $175,000.
I think that it satisfies the hue and cry of the public to do something about crime.
You're going to generate statistics. I mean, you're going to make arrests, right? But you're not going to have any effect, the evidence indicates anyway, you're not going to have any effect on a property crime per se.
To be fair, that's debatable. The federal government helped pay for 62 sting operations in the 70s and then concluded they had lowered crime rates. But studies by the Massachusetts Institute of Technology and the University of Delaware in the same 62 cities showed no drop in crime. For now in South Florida, though, there are no long-term results, only dozens of suspects in jail. Suspects like Norman Barber, who by last December 19th had sold undercover cops stolen personal computers, calculators, and dental equipment.
You got it. I know y'all gonna have a Merry Christmas. Yeah. You know it. Boy, I put y'all on top. You know it. Hey, how about?
Detectives now say that information from some of the 170 suspects who have already been charged in this case will lead them to another 150 burglars. Ralph, that would bring the total to 320 people stung in this operation.
For 5 months, spanning August to December of last year, Metro Police conducted an undercover warehouse operation, buying stolen merchandise and videotaping the transactions for use as evidence. 700 deals were made with about 450 persons. Some $2 million worth of stolen goods, from TV sets to automobiles, were bought by undercover agents for $159,000. The operation was dubbed B&T, standing for burglars and thieves. But the B&Ts who came to the South Dade warehouse to do business were unsuspecting. 120 people have been arrested so far. 51 are still being sought. Although many are now out on bond, police say such a sting operation causes a crime drop as burglars and thieves are tried and jailed. Others question a sting's effectiveness and fairness. When word gets out that a new place to fence stolen goods is open, does that encourage people to steal and sell? Most of the B&T suspects are repeat offenders. Will jail time for theft help lessen their illegal predatory pursuits? We don't know. But in an age when criminals seem to have the upper hand, we applaud such imaginative counter-crime efforts by police. To not try is to do nothing. There would be no need for rat traps